First contact and misunderstanding. The vast expanse of space stretched out before the galactic medical ship Hippocrates, its sleek hull glinting in the light of distant stars. Inside, Dr. Xylix, the ship's lead xenobiologist, paced nervously in the main laboratory. His iridescent scales shimmered with anticipation as he awaited the arrival of their newest patient, a human. "Calm yourself, Doctor," chirped his assistant, Vex, a small avian creature with brilliant green plumage. "It's just another species to study." Xylix's compound eyes blinked rapidly. "Just another species. Vex, humans are the galaxy's newest enigma. They've achieved faster than light travel in mere centuries, while it took the rest of us millennia. There's something different about them." A soft chime interrupted their conversation, signaling the approach of the medical shuttle. Xylix straightened his posture, smoothing down his lab coat with his 4 upper limbs. "Remember, Vex, observe everything. Record everything. We must learn all we can." The shuttle docked with a gentle thud, and moments later, the laboratory doors slid open. In walked, or rather, stumbled, a human female, supported by 2 robotic medical assistants. Her skin was pale, her auburn hair disheveled, and her green eyes darted around the room with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. "Welcome aboard the Hippocrates," Xylix said, bowing slightly. "I am Dr. Xylix, and this is my assistant, Vex. May we know your name?" The human winced, pressing a hand to her forehead. "Dr. Samantha Carter. But please, call me Sam." She attempted a smile, but it came out as more of a grimace. "I'd shake your hand, but I'm not sure which one to choose." Xylix tilted his head, confused by the human custom. "No need for physical contact, Dr. Carter. We understand you're not feeling well. Please, lie down on the examination table." As Sam complied, Vex began scanning her with various instruments. "Fascinating," the avian creature murmured. "Such an inefficient circulatory system, yet it sustains them remarkably well." Sam chuckled weakly. "Thanks, I think. Look, I appreciate the help, but I'm pretty sure it's just a migraine. Some painkillers and rest should do the trick." Xylix's antennae twitched with interest. "Migraine? Ah, yes, a neurological condition common in humans. But please, allow us to conduct a thorough examination. Your species is still relatively unknown to us, and this is an excellent opportunity for study." Sam sighed, resigning herself to the alien's curiosity. "Fine, but can we make it quick? I have a conference to attend on Proxima Station." As Xylix and Vex began their examination, they marveled at the complexities of human physiology. They were particularly intrigued by Sam's brain activity, which seemed to fluctuate wildly compared to other species they had encountered. "Dr. Carter," Xylix began, his voice tinged with excitement, "your neural patterns are quite remarkable. They seem to be in a constant state of flux. Is this normal for humans?" Sam winced as a particularly sharp pain lanced through her head. "I guess so. Look, I'm not a neurologist. I'm an astrophysicist. Can we please just get to the treatment part?" Vex chirped in alarm, drawing Xylix's attention to one of the monitors. "Doctor, look at these readings. The human's pain receptors are firing at an alarming rate, yet she remains conscious and coherent. How is this possible?" Xylix's compound eyes widened in astonishment. "Incredible. Dr. Carter, how are you able to function under such duress? Most species would be incapacitated by this level of neural activity." Sam sat up abruptly, her patience wearing thin. "Function. I'm barely keeping it together here. Please, if you have something for the pain, I'd really appreciate it." The sudden movement caused a wave of nausea to wash over her, and Sam paled visibly. Xylix, misinterpreting her change in color, became even more fascinated. "Remarkable. Your epidermis can alter its pigmentation in response to stimuli. What an incredible defense mechanism." "It's not a defense mechanism," Sam growled, her frustration mounting. "I'm about to be sick. Where's the bathroom?" Vex fluttered nervously. Bathroom. Oh, you mean waste elimination facilities. They're down the corridor, but in your condition. Sam didn't wait for Vex to finish. She leaped off the examination table and bolted for the door, nearly colliding with a startled alien entering the lab. Apologies, I didn't mean to intrude, the newcomer said, his translucent, gelatinous body rippling with confusion. I'm Dr. Glob, the ship's psychologist. I heard we had a human on board and wanted to observe. He was cut off as Sam pushed past him, her hand clamped firmly over her mouth. Dr. Glob's body jiggled with surprise as he watched her disappear down the corridor. Was it something I said? He asked, turning to Xylix and Vex. Xylix shook his head, antennae quivering with excitement. Not at all, Dr. Glob. You're just in time to witness a fascinating display of human physiology. Did you see how quickly she moved, despite her neural readings? And the color change? Simply extraordinary. Dr. Glob oozed further into the room, his curiosity piqued. Indeed. And what condition is she suffering from? The human calls it a migraine, Vex explained, pulling up Sam's scans on a holographic display. But look at these readings. It's as if her entire nervous system is in overdrive. How do they survive with such sensitive neural pathways? As the three aliens huddled around the display, excitedly discussing their observations, Sam returned to the lab. Her face was pale and drawn, but her eyes now blazed with a mix of pain and barely contained fury. All right, that's enough, she said, her voice low and controlled. I came here for medical assistance, not to be your lab rat. Either give me something for this migraine, or I'm leaving. The aliens turned to her, startled by her tone. Xylix stepped forward, his voice soothing. Dr. Carter, please understand. We're simply trying to learn more about your species. Your physiology is unlike anything we've encountered before. The way you process pain, your neural plasticity, even your emotional responses, they're all fascinating subjects of study. Sam took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. I get that, I really do. As a scientist, I understand the drive to learn and explore, but right now, I'm in pain. I'm nauseous, and I'm getting really frustrated. So please, can we focus on treatment first and leave the xenobiology lesson for later? Dr. Glob rippled with interest, his gelatinous form shifting to face Sam directly. Fascinating. You're experiencing multiple strong emotions simultaneously, yet you're articulating them clearly. How do you manage such complex neural processes? It was the wrong thing to say. Sam's last thread of patience snapped. How do I manage? I don't. That's why I'm here, she shouted, her voice echoing off the laboratory walls. I'm in pain, I'm sick, and I'm tired of being treated like a curiosity instead of a patient. Is this how you treat all your patients, or am I just special because I'm human? The outburst caught the aliens off guard. Xylix's scales flattened against his body, a sign of distress in his species. Vex's feathers puffed out in alarm, while Dr. Glob's gelatinous form quivered uncertainly. Dr. Carter, Xylix began, his voice hesitant. We apologize if we've caused you distress. It was not our intention to. Intention doesn't matter if the result is the same. Sam interrupted, her voice tight with controlled anger. You're doctors, aren't you? Your first priority should be the well-being of your patient, not satisfying your scientific curiosity. Dr. Glob oozed forward slightly, his voice a soothing burble. You're absolutely right, Dr. Carter. We've been insensitive to your needs. Please, allow us to rectify our mistake. What can we do to alleviate your discomfort? Sam closed her eyes, taking several deep breaths to calm herself. When she opened them again, her gaze was steady, her voice firm, but no longer angry. Thank you. First, I need something for the pain and nausea. Then, once I'm feeling better, we can talk about your questions, but only if I'm feeling up to it, understood? Xylix nodded vigorously, his antennae waving in agreement. Of course. Vex, Please prepare a analgesic compound suitable for human physiology. Dr. Glob, if you could assist Dr. Carter back to the examination table. As the aliens scrambled to attend to her needs, Sam couldn't help but notice the change in their behavior. They moved with purpose now, their earlier excitement replaced by professional focus. It was a marked improvement, but she couldn't shake the feeling that her outburst had affected them more deeply than she intended. Vex returned quickly with a HFY spray, administering the medication with gentle precision. Almost immediately, Sam felt the edge of her pain begin to dull. She sighed in relief, some of the tension leaving her body. "Thank you," she said softly. "I'm sorry for yelling earlier. It's been a long day, and the pain wasn't helping." Zilix waved his upper limbs in a gesture of dismissal. "No apologies necessary, Dr. Carter. We were the ones at fault. Your reaction has given us much to consider about our approach to interspecies medical care." Dr. Glob rippled in agreement. "Indeed, your display of emotion was most illuminating. In many species, such strong feelings would be accompanied by physical aggression. Yet you channeled your anger into clear communication. It's quite remarkable." Sam couldn't help but chuckle, wincing slightly as the movement jostled her still sensitive head. "Trust me, it was a close thing. Humans are capable of physical aggression too. We just try to use our words first." As the medication continued to take effect, Sam found herself relaxing. The aliens, true to their word, focused on monitoring her condition rather than pestering her with questions. It was a comfortable silence, broken only by the soft beeping of medical equipment and the occasional rustle of Vex's feathers. Finally, feeling much improved, Sam sat up slowly. "All right," she said, offering a small smile to her alien caretakers. "I'm feeling better now. If you still have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But let's keep it casual, okay? No more poking and prodding unless absolutely necessary." Xylix's scales shimmered with barely contained excitement, but his voice remained professional. "We would be honored, Dr. Carter. Perhaps we could move to a more comfortable setting. Our ship has an excellent observation lounge with a view of the nearby nebula." Sam nodded, carefully standing up. "That sounds perfect. And please, call me Sam. If we're going to be discussing the intricacies of human biology and psychology, we might as well be on a first-name basis." As they made their way to the observation lounge, Sam couldn't help but reflect on the events of the day. What had started as a simple medical visit had turned into a crash course in interspecies relations. She had a feeling that her impromptu lecture on human emotions was just the beginning of a much larger conversation. Little did she know, her outburst of anger would have far-reaching consequences, not just for the medical staff of the Hippocrates, but for human-alien relations throughout the galaxy. The journey of discovery was only just beginning, and Sam found herself at the very heart of it. The incident, the observation lounge of the Hippocrates, was a marvel of alien engineering. Its transparent dome offered an unobstructed view of the cosmos, currently dominated by the swirling colors of a nearby nebula. Sam sat in a specially designed chair that adjusted to her human physiology, facing her trio of alien hosts. Dr. Xylix's compound eyes reflected the starlight as he spoke. "Sam, we appreciate your willingness to continue this discussion. Your earlier demonstration of human emotion has raised many questions." Sam nodded, her migraine now reduced to a dull throb. "I understand. But before we dive into that, I'm curious about something. How many humans have you actually interacted with before me?" The aliens exchanged glances. Vex ruffled his feathers nervously. "Well, to be honest, you're our first direct contact with a human patient. We've studied reports and data from other medical ships, but nothing beats first-hand experience," Sam finished for him. "I get it. That explains a lot, actually. You know, on Earth, we have a saying, don't judge a book by its cover. It means you shouldn't make assumptions based on superficial observations." Dr. Glob's gelatinous form rippled with interest, a fascinating idiom. "But surely, observation is the foundation of scientific understanding." Sam smiled. Observation is important, yes, but so is context and empathy. Speaking of which, I noticed earlier that you all seemed pretty shocked by my anger. Is emotional expression uncommon among your species? Zelix's antennae twitched thoughtfully. Not uncommon, but certainly more controlled. Most spacefaring species have evolved to suppress strong emotions, as they can be dangerous in the delicate environment of a starship. That makes sense, Sam mused. But for humans, emotions aren't just something to be suppressed. They're an integral part of who we are, how we think, how we make decisions. Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden blaring alarm. Red lights began flashing throughout the lounge, and a computerized voice echoed through the ship. Alert! Coolant leak detected in engine room. All non-essential personnel, please report to designated safety areas. Xylix sprang to his feet, all four hands already tapping at a holographic console that had materialized before him. This is not good. Our engine uses a highly volatile plasma coolant. If it's leaking, it could cause a cascade reaction and destroy the ship. Sam finished, her scientific mind already racing through the possibilities. What are our options? Dr. Glob oozed anxiously. The automatic systems should have sealed off the engine room, but we need someone to manually reroute the coolant flow and repair the leak. Our engineering team is on shore leave. The closest help is hours away. Sam stood up, her face set with determination. I can do it. I've worked on similar systems in my astrophysics lab. Vex chirped in alarm. But the radiation levels in there must be lethal to humans. They're lethal to everyone if we don't fix this, Sam countered. Do you have radiation suits? Zilix nodded hesitantly. Yes, but they're designed for our physiology. I'm not sure. It'll have to do, Sam interrupted. Show me to the engine room. Now. As they raced through the corridors, alarms blaring around them, Xylix briefed Sam on the engine's layout. They'd reached a sealed door, beyond which lay the ship's pulsing heart. The suit won't offer full protection, Xylix warned as Sam struggled into the alien garment. You'll have minutes at most before the radiation becomes dangerous. Sam's voice was muffled by the suit's helmet. Then let's not waste any time. Open the door. With a hiss of escaping air, the door slid open. Sam stepped into a nightmare of flashing lights, hissing steam, and the ominous glow of leaked plasma coolant. She could feel the heat even through the suit. The main coolant line is to your left. Xylix's voice crackled through the suit's comm. You need to seal the leak and reroute the flow through the backup system. Sam moved as quickly as the cumbersome suit allowed, her mind focused solely on the task at hand. She found the leak, a hairline fracture in the main coolant pipe. With practiced movements, she began the delicate process of sealing the crack and rerouting the coolant. Minutes ticked by, each second exposing her to more radiation. Sweat beaded on her forehead, her muscles screaming from the effort of working in the unwieldy suit. But she pressed on, driven by a determination that bordered on stubbornness. Sam, you need to get out of there. Vex's panicked voice came through the comm. The radiation levels are reaching critical. Almost done. Sam grunted, making the final adjustments. With a satisfying click, the backup system engaged. The hissing of leaked coolant stopped, and the ominous glow began to fade. Exhausted and dizzy, Sam staggered back towards the door. As it sealed behind her, she collapsed into Zolix's many arms. Incredible, the alien doctor murmured, already scanning her with medical instruments. You've saved the ship, Sam. But the radiation exposure. Sam managed a weak smile. Nothing a little rest won't fix, right? Though I wouldn't say no to some of that pain medication again. As Xylix and Vex rushed her back to the medical bay, Dr. Glob oozed alongside, his gelatinous form quivering with a mix of concern and fascination. I don't understand, he burbled. Our psychological profiles suggested that humans would prioritize self-preservation. Yet you risked your life without hesitation. Why? Sam winced as they helped her onto an examination table. Because it was the right thing to do. Because people were in danger. Because I could help. The aliens exchanged glances, clearly struggling to process this information. Xylix began treating Sam for radiation exposure, his movements efficient but his compound eyes never leaving her face. But the danger to yourself, Vex chirped, fluttering nervously nearby. The pain you must have experienced. Pain can be ignored, Sam said through gritted teeth as Xylix administered a series of injections. Fear can be overcome. When the stakes are high enough, humans are capable of pushing past our physical limitations. Dr. Glob's form rippled thoughtfully. Is this related to the anger you displayed earlier? This ability to override your body's natural responses. Sam chuckled weakly. In a way, I suppose. Anger, courage, determination. They're all powerful motivators. They can push us to do things we never thought possible. As the medication began to take effect, easing the burning sensation that permeated her body, Sam noticed the aliens huddle together, talking in low, urgent tones. She caught snippets of their conversation. Potential military applications. Unpredictable. Dangerous. Hey, she called out, causing them to turn towards her. I can guess what you're thinking. You're wondering if humans are a threat, aren't you? Xylix stepped forward, his antennae drooping slightly in what Sam was beginning to recognize as embarrassment. We apologize, Sam. It's just the level of physical resilience you've displayed, combined with your species' emotional intensity. It's a combination we've never encountered before. Sam sighed, pushing herself up to a sitting position despite Vex's chirps of protest. Look, I get it. We humans can seem pretty scary from the outside. We're emotional, we're stubborn, and yeah, we can be dangerous when pushed. But those same traits that frighten you, they're also what drive us to explore, to discover, to help others even at cost to ourselves. Dr. Glob oozed closer, his gelatinous form rippling with curiosity. But how do you control it? This potential for both creation and destruction. We're not perfect at it, Sam admitted. We've made plenty of mistakes along the way. But we learn. We grow. We strive to be better. She looked at each of them in turn, her gaze steady despite her exhaustion. What you saw today, my anger in the lab, my actions in the engine room, that's humanity. We feel deeply, we act decisively. And when the situation calls for it, we'll move heaven and earth to do what's right. Xylix's scales shimmered, reflecting the soft light of the medical bay. It's both terrifying and awe-inspiring, he said softly. To feel so strongly, to be willing to sacrifice oneself for others. I'm not sure our species are capable of such things. Sam smiled gently. Don't sell yourselves short. Compassion, curiosity, the desire to help. I've seen all of those in you. They might express themselves differently, but the core is the same. A comfortable silence fell over the medical bay as the aliens pondered her words. It was broken by a soft chime from one of the medical consoles. Vex fluttered over to check it, then turned to Sam with wide eyes. Your recovery rate is remarkable, he chirped. The cellular regeneration, it's far faster than we anticipated. Sam flexed her fingers, noticing that the burning sensation had indeed faded significantly. Guess there's still a lot for us all to learn about each other, huh? Dr. Glob's form rippled with what Sam was beginning to recognize as excitement. Indeed. Sam, would you be willing to continue working with us? Not just as a patient, but as a collaborator. Your insights into human physiology and psychology could be invaluable. Sam grinned, feeling a familiar spark of scientific curiosity igniting within her. I'd be honored. Though maybe we could start with something a little less life-threatening than radiation exposure. Xylix's antennae waved in what Sam hoped was agreement. Of course, we'll design a series of safe, controlled experiments. With your help, we can revolutionize our understanding of human biology and behavior. As the aliens began excitedly discussing potential research avenues, Sam leaned back on the examination table, a mixture of amusement and anticipation washing over her. She had come aboard the Hippocrates seeking treatment for a migraine. Instead, she had found herself at the forefront of a new era in human-alien relations. The galaxy, it seemed, was not prepared for the complexities of human nature. But as she watched her new alien friends animatedly planning their research, Sam felt a surge of hope. With patience, understanding, and a healthy dose of human determination, they could bridge the gap between their species. As she drifted off to sleep, lulled by the gentle hum of the ship's engines, now running smoothly thanks to her efforts, Sam couldn't help but smile. The adventure, she realized, was only just beginning. Aftermath and analysis. The days following the coolant leak incident aboard the Hippocrates were a whirlwind of activity. News of Sam's heroic actions had spread quickly through the ship and beyond, reaching the ears of the Galactic Scientific Council. What had started as a simple medical examination had evolved into a full-fledged research project, with Sam at its center. Sam stood before a holographic display in the ship's main laboratory, surrounded by an eager audience of alien scientists. Dr. Xylix, Vex, and Dr. Glob were there, of course, but they had been joined by a dozen other researchers from various species, all drawn by the promise of groundbreaking discoveries about human physiology and psychology. "All right, let's recap what we've learned so far," Sam began, her voice carrying a mix of enthusiasm and caution. "First and foremost, human emotions are not a weakness or a liability. They're an integral part of our decision-making process and can be a source of tremendous strength." She gestured to a series of brain scans on the display, showing her neural activity during the engine room crisis. As you can see, during high-stress situations, human brains don't shut down. Instead, certain areas become hyperactive, allowing us to focus intensely and push beyond our normal physical limits. A tentacled alien in the back raised an appendage. But surely such intense neural activity must have negative consequences, the energy expenditure alone. Sam nodded. "You're right. It's not sustainable long-term. That's why humans need rest and recovery after intense experiences. But in the moment, when it matters most, we can achieve remarkable things." Dr. Glob oozed forward, his gelatinous form rippling with excitement. "Fascinating. And this ability to push beyond limits, it applies to emotional states as well." "Absolutely," Sam confirmed. "Emotions like anger, fear, love, they can all drive humans to extraordinary acts. The key is understanding and channeling these emotions productively." Vex fluttered his wings nervously. "But how do you prevent these emotions from causing harm? Our historical records show numerous instances of human conflicts driven by anger or fear." Sam's expression grew serious. "That's the challenge, isn't it? Emotions are powerful, and like any power, they can be misused. Part of human development, both as individuals and as a species, is learning to understand and control our emotions." She paused, considering her next words carefully. "I won't sugarcoat it. Humans have made mistakes. We've hurt each other and our planet. But we've also accomplished amazing things, driven by the same emotional intensity. Our art, our music, our scientific discoveries, they're all fueled by our ability to feel deeply and care passionately." The room fell silent as the alien scientists absorbed this information. Sam could almost see the gears turning in their minds, or whatever passed for minds in their varied physiologies. Dr. Xylix stepped forward, his scales shimmering with what Sam had come to recognize as deep thought. "Sam, you've given us much to consider, but I must ask, given the potential volatility of human emotions, how can we ensure safe and productive interactions between our species?" Sam smiled. "The same way we're doing it right now, through communication, understanding, and a willingness to learn from each other. Yes, humans can be intense. We can be unpredictable. But we're also curious, adaptable, and eager to connect." She gestured around the room. "Look at all of you. You come from different worlds, different evolutionary paths. Yet here you are, working together in the pursuit of knowledge. Humans are no different. We want to learn, to explore, to be part of something bigger than ourselves. A ripple of murmurs passed through the room, a mix of excitement and apprehension. Sam could sense that while her words had made an impact, there was still uncertainty among some of the alien scientists. One of them, a crystalline being that seemed to shimmer with every movement, spoke up. "Your words are inspiring, Dr. Carter, but words are easy. How can we be sure that all humans share your outlook? What if we encounter those who are driven by less noble emotions?" Sam took a deep breath, recognizing the gravity of the question. "That's a fair concern. The truth is, humans are diverse. We don't all think or act the same way. But that diversity is our strength. It drives us to question, to debate, to find better solutions." She walked over to another display, bringing up images of Earth, its cities, its natural wonders, its people. On our world, we have a concept called unity in diversity. It means that our differences don't divide us. They make us stronger as a whole. The same principle can apply to our relationships with other species. Dr. Glob's form rippled thoughtfully. But how do we navigate these differences? How do we prepare for the unpredictability of human emotions? Sam grinned. "Well, that's where science comes in, doesn't it? The more we understand each other, the better equipped we'll be to build meaningful relationships. And that understanding goes both ways. We humans have just as much to learn about your species as you do about us." Excitement began to build in the room as the implications of Sam's words sank in. The alien scientists started chattering amongst themselves, proposing experiments, cultural exchange programs, and collaborative research projects. Amidst the growing excitement, Vex fluttered close to Sam, his avian features arranged in what she had learned was an expression of concern. "Sam," he chirped softly, "all of this sounds wonderful, but I must ask, are you sure you're up for this? The radiation exposure you suffered." Sam placed a gentle hand on Vex's feathered shoulder, touched by his concern. "I appreciate your worry, Vex, but I'm feeling much better, thanks to your excellent care. And to be honest, I wouldn't miss this for the world, or should I say, for the galaxy." As the discussion in the room grew more animated, Dr. Zulix approached Sam, his compound eyes reflecting the holographic displays around them. "You've certainly stirred things up, Sam," he said, a note of admiration in his voice. "I don't think I've ever seen the scientific community this energized." Sam chuckled. "Well, that's another human trait for you. We have a knack for shaking things up. But tell me, Dr. Zulix, what do you think about all this? You've been pretty quiet." Zulix's antennae twitched thoughtfully. "I find myself conflicted. On one hand, the potential for scientific discovery is enormous. On the other, I can't help but worry about the implications. Humans are so intense. Your emotions, your drive, they're unlike anything we've encountered before." Sam nodded, understanding his concerns. "Change can be scary, especially when it comes to interspecies relations. But think of it this way. Every major scientific breakthrough in history has been a little bit scary at first. The key is to approach it with open minds and careful consideration." She gestured towards the excited group of scientists. "That's why this collaboration is so important. We're not just studying humans, we're learning how to interact, how to communicate, how to work together despite our differences." Zulix's scales shimmered, reflecting the light in a way that Sam had come to associate with dawning realization. "You're right, of course, and perhaps our own species could benefit from embracing a bit more of that human intensity." Before Sam could respond, an alarm blared through the laboratory. Red lights began flashing, and a computerized voice echoed through the room. "Alert! Unidentified vessel approaching. All personnel report to designated safety areas." The excitement in the room quickly turned to panic as the alien scientists looked to each other in confusion. Sam, however, felt a familiar surge of adrenaline. "Dr. Zulix," she said, her voice calm but authoritative, "what's the situation? Is it a known threat?" Zelix was already accessing a nearby console, his four hands moving rapidly over the controls. Unknown. The ship doesn't match any known configurations in our database. It's not responding to hails. Sam's mind raced, assessing the situation. Okay, we need to stay calm. Is there a way I can see the ship? Maybe I can identify it. Zelix nodded, bringing up a holographic image of the approaching vessel. Sam studied it intently, her eyes widening in recognition. I know that ship, she breathed. It's human. A collective gasp went through the room. Dr. Glob oozed closer, his gelatinous form quivering with anxiety. Human? But why wouldn't they respond to hails? Are they hostile? Sam shook her head, her brow furrowed in concentration. No, not hostile. That's an old Earth vessel, pre-FTL. It shouldn't even be out this far. Something must be wrong with their communication systems. She turned to Zelix, her eyes blazing with determination. We need to help them. They might not even know where they are or how they got here. Zelix's antennae drooped in uncertainty. But our protocols for first contact. This isn't first contact, Sam interrupted. These are my people, and they're in trouble. We can't just leave them out there. The alien scientists exchanged glances, clearly torn between their ingrained caution and the human's passionate plea. It was Dr. Glob who finally spoke up, his gelatinous form solidifying slightly in what Sam had come to recognize as resolve. Sam has risked her life for us, he burbled. She's shared her knowledge freely. If she says these humans need help, I believe we should trust her judgment. A murmur of agreement passed through the room. Zelix looked at Sam, his compound eyes reflecting a mix of apprehension and admiration. Very well, he said. What do you propose we do? Sam smiled, feeling the surge of gratitude towards her alien colleagues. First, we need to try to establish communication. If their systems are damaged, we might need to get creative. Then we should prepare to bring them aboard. They might need medical attention. As the room burst into action, Sam couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. In this moment of crisis, the alien scientists weren't treating her as a subject of study or a potential threat. They were looking to her as a leader, a collaborator. This, she realized, was the true power of human emotion and determination. Not just in moments of personal heroism, but in inspiring others to push beyond their own limitations and preconceptions. As they raced against time to rescue the mysterious human vessel, Sam knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Human and alien, united in purpose, driven by a shared commitment to exploration, discovery, and mutual understanding. The next chapter in human-alien relations was about to unfold, and Sam Carter was right at the heart of it all. Collaborative crisis. The Hippocrates hummed with nervous energy as its crew prepared to make contact with the mysterious human vessel. Sam stood on the bridge, surrounded by a mix of alien scientists and ship personnel, all looking to her for guidance. All right, let's try this again, Sam said, nodding to the communications officer, a squid-like being named Xilox. Broadcast on all frequencies, including some of the older Earth bandwidths. Use this message. Unidentified Earth vessel. This is Dr. Samantha Carter aboard the Galactic medical ship Hippocrates. We've detected potential issues with your systems and are offering assistance. Please respond. Xilox's tentacles danced over the console, transmitting the message. 10 seconds ticked by as they waited for a response. Just as Sam was about to suggest another approach, a crackle of static burst from the speakers. This is Captain Sarah Chen, Earth Exploration Vessel Horizon. A weak voice responded, breaking up with interference. We're navigation systems, life support failing. Need immediate assistance. Sam's heart raced. We hear you, Horizon. We're preparing to bring you aboard. Can you give us a status report on your crew? More static, then. Crew of 5, all alive, but radiation exposure. Please hurry. Dr. Zelix stepped forward, his scales shimmering with concern. Radiation exposure. Sam, if they're in a similar condition to what you experienced. Then we need to act fast, Sam finished for him. Xylox, can we get a tractor beam on them? The communications officer warbled an affirmative, his tentacles already working the controls. Outside the view screen, a shimmering beam of energy extended from the Hippocrates, enveloping the smaller Earth vessel. Bringing them into docking bay 2, Xylox announced. Sam turned to the assembled alien scientists. Okay, we need to move quickly. Dr. Xylox, prepare the medical bay for multiple human patients with radiation exposure. Vex, I need you to analyze their ship systems once it's aboard. Figure out what went wrong. Dr. Glob, you're with me. We'll meet the crew and assess their condition. As the group dispersed to their tasks, Dr. Glob oozed alongside Sam as they hurried towards the docking bay. Sam, he burbled nervously, are you sure it's wise for you to be the first contact, given your recent exposure? Sam smiled reassuringly. I appreciate your concern, Doc, but I'm the best choice. They'll be scared, confused. Seeing another human will help calm them down. Besides, I've got you to keep an eye on me, right? They'd reached the docking bay just as the airlock cycled open. Sam stepped forward, Dr. Glob a quivering mass behind her. The door to the Earth vessel opened with a hiss, and 5 figures stumbled out, coughing and disoriented. Easy there, Sam called out, rushing to support a woman who looked ready to collapse. You're safe now. We're here to help. The woman, Captain Chen, Sam assumed, looked up with bleary eyes. Who? Where are we? You're aboard the Galactic medical ship Hippocrates, Sam explained, helping the captain to a nearby bench. I'm Dr. Samantha Carter. We picked up your distress signal. As the other crew members were helped out of their ship, Sam noticed their wide-eyed stares at Dr. Glob and the other alien crew members assisting them. I know this is a lot to take in, she said gently, but right now, we need to get you all to the medical bay. You've suffered radiation exposure. Captain Chen gripped Sam's arm, her eyes clearing slightly. Our mission. We were testing an experimental FTL drive. Something went wrong. We ended up here. Wherever here is. Sam nodded, understanding dawning. You're a long way from home, Captain, but let's focus on getting you treated first. We can figure out the rest later. As they made their way to the medical bay, Sam couldn't help but notice the mix of fear and awe on the faces of the Horizon's crew as they took in their alien surroundings. She remembered her own first encounters and felt a surge of empathy. In the medical bay, Dr. Xylox and his team were ready. Sam watched as the alien doctor efficiently directed the treatment of the human patients, applying the knowledge gained from her own experience. Remarkable, Dr. Xylox muttered as he examined Captain Chen. The radiation damage is severe, yet they're all conscious and mobile. Human resilience continues to astonish me. As the treatments progressed, Sam found herself acting as a bridge between the two groups, explaining alien medical procedures to the nervous Earth crew and translating human physiological responses for the alien doctors. Hours passed in a blur of activity. Finally, Dr. Xylox approached Sam, his antennae twitching with what she recognized as cautious optimism. They're stabilized, he reported. The radiation damage was extensive, but treatable. They'll need time to recover fully, but they're out of immediate danger. Sam let out a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. Thank you, Dr. Xylox. Your team did amazing work. We had an excellent teacher, Xylox replied, his scales shimmering in what Sam had come to recognize as the alien equivalent of a smile. As the immediate medical crisis subsided, new challenges emerged. The crew of the Horizon, while grateful for their rescue, were struggling to come to terms with their situation. Sam found herself playing the role of counselor, mediator, and cultural attaché all at once. So, we're really out here. Lieutenant Rodriguez, the Horizon's engineer, asked Sam as they stood in the observation lounge, staring out at the unfamiliar stars. First contact, alien civilizations. It's all real. Sam nodded, understanding the mix of wonder and fear in the young engineer's voice. It's a lot to take in, I know. But yes, it's all real. And believe me, they're just as fascinated by us as we are by them. Rodriguez shook his head in disbelief. But how? I mean, why are you here? Working with them? That's a long story. Sam chuckled. Let's just say I started out as a patient and ended up as a cultural ambassador. These beings, they're different from us in many ways, but in the ways that matter, they're not so different at all. They're curious, compassionate, eager to learn. As Sam continued to help the Horizon's crew acclimate, she noticed Dr. Glob hovering nearby, his gelatinous form rippling with what she had come to recognize as intense curiosity. She waved him over. Dr. Glob, this is Lieutenant Rodriguez, she introduced. Lieutenant, this is Dr. Glob, the ship's psychologist. He's been instrumental in helping us understand each other better. Rodriguez extended a hand hesitantly, then seemed to think better of it. Nice to meet you, Dr. Glob. How exactly do you? I mean, what kind of? You're wondering how a being of my composition can function as a psychologist. Dr. Glob burbled, a hint of amusement in his tone. I assure you, Lieutenant, that while our physical forms may differ greatly, the fundamentals of cognition and emotion have fascinating parallels across species. As the human and alien began to converse, Sam felt a warmth in her chest. This was what it was all about, building bridges, fostering understanding, bringing different worlds together. Her moment of reflection was interrupted by an urgent call from Vex. Sam, we need you in the engineering bay immediately. We've discovered something about the Horizon's FTL drive. Excusing herself, Sam rushed to the engineering bay. She found Vex fluttering anxiously around a holographic display of the Horizon's engine. What's the situation, Vex? The avian alien's feathers were ruffled with agitation. The Horizon's experimental drive. It's not just a new form of FTL. It's, Sam, I think they've accidentally created a device that can punch holes in the fabric of space-time itself. Sam's eyes widened as she examined the data. A wormhole generator. But that should be impossible with Earth's current level of technology. Impossible or not, that's what we're looking at, Vex chirped. And it's unstable. If we don't find a way to safely neutralize it, it could tear a hole in space large enough to swallow this entire sector. Sam felt a chill run down her spine. The implications were staggering, both in terms of the potential danger and the scientific breakthrough this represented. We need to tell the others, she said, her mind already racing through possible solutions. And we'll need to work with the Horizon's crew. They know this technology better than anyone. As they gathered the alien scientists and the recovering Earth crew in the main conference room, Sam couldn't help but marvel at the situation. Here they were, humans and aliens thrown together by circumstance, now faced with a challenge that threatened them all. Captain Chen, still pale but standing tall, addressed the room. Dr. Carter has filled me in on the situation. I want you all to know that we never intended to create something so dangerous. Our goal was purely scientific exploration. Dr. Zillick stepped forward, his compound eyes reflecting the seriousness of the situation. Intention aside, we now face a grave threat. We must combine our knowledge and resources if we hope to neutralize this device safely. Sam looked around the room, seeing determination on faces both human and alien. This is going to take all of us, she said. Earth ingenuity, alien technology, and a whole lot of cooperation. But I believe we can do this. As the group began to discuss potential solutions, Sam felt a surge of hope. This crisis, as dangerous as it was, represented a unique opportunity. It was a chance for humans and aliens to work together, to learn from each other, to prove that despite their differences, they could unite in the face of a common challenge. The next few hours would be critical. The fate of not just the Hippocrates and the Horizon, but potentially an entire sector of space, hung in the balance. But as Sam watched humans and aliens bent over the same console, arguing theories and proposing solutions. She knew they had a fighting chance. This was the true test of everything she had been working towards, not just understanding between species, but active collaboration. As they raced against time to prevent a cosmic disaster, Sam realized that they were writing a new chapter in the history of both Earth and the galactic community. Whatever the outcome, one thing was certain: the universe would never be the same again. New understanding and future prospects. The main laboratory of the Hippocrates buzzed with frenetic energy. Humans and aliens worked side by side, their differences forgotten in the face of the looming crisis. At the center of it all stood Sam Carter, her face illuminated by the glow of holographic displays showing the increasingly unstable wormhole generator aboard the Horizon. "All right, let's go over this one more time," Sam said, her voice steady despite the pressure. "Lieutenant Rodriguez, walk us through the original design of the drive." Rodriguez, still looking a bit pale from his ordeal, but eyes sharp with focus, stepped forward. The core principle was to create a controlled quantum singularity, using it to fold spacetime and achieve faster-than-light travel. But something in the activation sequence caused a cascade effect, expanding the singularity beyond our ability to contain it. Dr. Zulix's antennae twitched thoughtfully. "Fascinating. It seems you've accidentally tapped into principles of trans-dimensional physics that even our most advanced scientists are only beginning to grasp." "Great," Captain Chen muttered. "We've stumbled onto cutting-edge science, and it might kill us all." Sam held up a hand, her mind racing. "Not if we can find a way to stabilize the singularity." "Vex, what about the containment fields on the Hippocrates? Could we modify them to encompass the Horizon's drive?" The avian alien ruffled his feathers excitedly. "Potentially, yes. Our fields are designed to contain various forms of exotic matter. With some adjustment, we might be able to create a shell around the singularity, giving us time to devise a permanent solution." As the group debated the technical details, Dr. Glob oozed closer to Sam, his gelatinous form rippling with concern. "Sam," he burbled quietly, "I've been observing the interactions between our teams. The stress levels are extraordinarily high, even accounting for the gravity of the situation. I fear we may be approaching a breaking point." Sam nodded, understanding the psychologist's worry. The initial excitement of collaboration was wearing off, replaced by fatigue in fraying nerves. She could see it in the tense set of Captain Chen's shoulders, the increasingly agitated flutter of Vex's wings, the way Dr. Zylix's scales seemed to darken with each passing hour. "You're right," she murmured back to Dr. Glob. "We need to address this before it impacts our work." "Any suggestions?" The alien psychologist's form shimmered thoughtfully. Perhaps a moment of shared reflection. A reminder of what we're working towards, beyond just averting disaster. Sam smiled. "Doc, you're a genius, or whatever the gelatinous equivalent is." Clearing her throat, Sam raised her voice to address the room. "Everyone, can I have your attention, please?" The bustling activity quieted as all eyes, compound, gelatinous, and human alike, turned to her. "I know we're all feeling the pressure," she began. "What we're attempting here is unprecedented, and the stakes couldn't be higher. But I want us all to take a moment and really look around this room." She gestured to the diverse gathering of beings. "Just a few days ago, most of us didn't know the others existed. We come from different worlds, different evolutionary paths. By all accounts, we shouldn't even be able to communicate, let alone work together on cutting-edge science." Sam's gaze swept the room, making eye contact with each individual. Yet here we are, humans and aliens, standing shoulder to shoulder, or shoulder to tentacle, as the case may be, facing a challenge that threatens us all. We've already achieved something remarkable here, something that goes beyond scientific discovery. She could see her words having an effect, tension visibly easing from both human and alien postures. "Whatever happens in the next few hours, we've proven something incredible. That beings from across the galaxy can come together, can understand each other, can combine their knowledge and skills to tackle the impossible. That's worth fighting for. That's a future worth saving. A moment of profound silence followed her words. It was broken by Captain Chen, who stepped forward with a newfound determination in her eyes. "Dr. Carter is right," she said firmly. "We started this mission to push the boundaries of human knowledge, to reach out into the stars. We may have gotten more than we bargained for, but I'll be damned if we let this opportunity slip away. Let's solve this thing." A ripple of agreement passed through the room. Dr. Xylix's scales brightened, Vex's feathers smoothed, and even Dr. Glob's gelatinous form seemed to solidify with resolve. With renewed focus, the team returned to their work. Ideas flowed more freely, communication barriers seemed to dissolve, and step by step, a solution began to take shape. Hours passed in a blur of calculations, simulations, and feverish adjustments to both the Hippocrates systems and the Horizon's experimental drive. Finally, as the ship's chronometers ticked over to mark a new day, Sam looked up from her console with a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. I think we've got it," she announced, her voice hoarse from hours of discussion. The room held its breath as Vex initiated the containment sequence. On the main view screen, they watched as a shimmering field of energy enveloped the Horizon, focusing on the pulsing heart of its experimental drive. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly, the ominous readings that had been steadily climbing for hours began to stabilize. A cheer went up from the human crew members, echoed by various alien vocalizations of triumph. "Containment field is holding," Vex chirped excitedly. "The singularity is beginning to collapse in on itself. We've done it." The celebration that followed was like nothing Sam had ever experienced. Humans and aliens embraced awkwardly. Congratulations were exchanged in a dozen different languages, and more than a few tears were shed, some from eyes, some from other, more exotic organs. As the initial euphoria began to subside, Sam found herself standing before the observation window, gazing out at the stars. She felt a presence beside her and turned to see Captain Chen. "Hell of a few days, huh?" the captain said with a wry smile. Sam chuckled. "You could say that. How are you holding up?" Chen shook her head in amazement. "Still processing, to be honest. When we left Earth, I thought we were embarking on humanity's greatest journey of discovery. I had no idea how right I was, in all the wrong ways." "It's a lot to take in," Sam agreed. "But you and your crew have handled it admirably. Earth should be proud." A comfortable silence fell between them as they watched the contained Horizon, now safely tractored alongside the Hippocrates. "So what happens now?" Chen asked quietly. "To us, to this discovery, to everything." Before Sam could respond, they were joined by Dr. Xylix, Vex, and Dr. Glob. The alien scientists regarded the two humans with a mixture of curiosity and newfound respect. "That," Dr. Xylix said, his compound eyes reflecting the starlight, "is a question we must all consider carefully. The events of the past few days have challenged many of our preconceptions about humans and our place in the galactic community." Vex fluttered his wings in agreement. "Indeed. The scientific implications alone are staggering. The Horizon's drive, while dangerously unstable, represents a leap forward in trans-dimensional physics, and the solutions we develop together bridge gaps between our technologies in ways we never imagined possible. It goes beyond just science," Dr. Glob burbled thoughtfully. "The psychological and social dynamics we've observed. The way humans and aliens were able to form effective teams under extreme stress. It opens up entirely new avenues of research into cross-species cooperation." Sam looked at each of them in turn, a slow smile spreading across her face. "I think what we're all dancing around here is that things can't just go back to the way they were before. For any of us." Captain Chen nodded slowly. "Earth isn't ready for full disclosure about alien life. Not yet. But we can't just pretend this didn't happen either." Nor can we in the galactic community simply ignore the potential that humans represent, Dr. Zilix added, both for scientific advancement and, if I may say, as allies and friends. A thoughtful silence fell over the group as they contemplated the magnitude of the situation. It was Sam who finally broke it, her voice filled with cautious optimism. What if this isn't an ending, but a beginning?" she suggested. "Captain Chen, your mission was about pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. Why stop now? And Dr. Zilix, you and your colleagues have been studying humans from afar. Wouldn't hands-on collaboration yield even greater insights?" Excitement began to build as the implications of her words sank in. Vex's feathers ruffled with enthusiasm. "Are you suggesting some sort of official exchange program?" Sam nodded, warming to the idea. "Exactly. We start small, keep it quiet. The crew of the Horizon continues their mission, but with the support and guidance of the galactic scientific community. In return, a select group of alien scientists gets to work directly with humans, both here in space and in carefully controlled environments on Earth. A gradual integration," Dr. Glob mused, his gelatinous form rippling thoughtfully, allowing both sides time to adapt, to learn from each other without the shock of full disclosure. From a psychological perspective, it's an intriguing approach. Captain Chen's eyes sparkled with renewed purpose. It would allow us to continue our exploration, to bring back knowledge that could revolutionize Earth science. And when the time comes for full disclosure, we have a foundation of cooperation to build on. Dr. Zilix's scales shimmered with what Sam had come to recognize as excitement. There will be challenges, of course, protocols to establish, diplomatic considerations to navigate, but the potential benefits, they're impossible to ignore. As the group continued to discuss the possibilities, Sam felt a profound sense of hope. What had started as a simple medical examination had evolved into something far greater, the first steps towards a true partnership between Earth and the galactic community. There would be obstacles ahead, of course, cultural misunderstandings to navigate, scientific hurdles to overcome, and the ever-present challenge of balancing progress with caution. But as Sam looked around at this unlikely group, human explorers and alien scientists, united by shared curiosity and newfound respect, she knew they were up to the task. The stars outside the observation window seemed to shine a little brighter, as if reflecting the promise of the future they were building. A future where the boundaries between species blurred, where knowledge flowed freely across the cosmos, and where the combined ingenuity of Earth and alien civilizations could tackle the greatest mysteries of the universe. As the Hippocrates prepared to begin its journey back to Earth, carrying with it the seeds of this new era of cooperation, Sam Carter couldn't help but smile. The adventure, she realized, was only just beginning. The galaxy would never be the same again, and neither would humanity.